Okay, so had no trouble plugging the numbers in, okay? So let's just go ahead and just quickly run through the calculations and little glitches that often occur when you're doing this, okay? So, in the first place, for this function, these are where your zeros are. So, for the function I gave you, a is the number in front of x squared, because a is a number in front of the squared. No, it's t squared here, remember x and t are interchangeable, although don't interchange them in the same problem. When you look at the formula, just whatever the variable is, that goes where t is. Okay? So, a equals 1, b equals 5, c equals 6, so zeros are at x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all that divided by 2a. And that equals negative 5 plus or minus the square root of, a lot of times people will write negative 5 squared with no parentheses. That means square 5 and then put the negative on it. That doesn't mean square negative 5, but this says square b. So you got to put parentheses around that negative 5. Then it's minus 4 times 1 times negative 5, and that's over 2 times 1. So that's negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 25 minus AC. So don't do like me, plug the right numbers in the right place. Minus 24 over 2. So x equals negative 5 plus the square root of 1 over 2. Because of course, what's under here is 1, right? Or x equals, and of course you don't want to leave out that step, at least for several times you do this, okay? But anyhow, I'm leaving out that step because this is the square root of 1, which is 1, right? Okay? So then this is negative 5 plus 1 over 2, which is negative 2. Again, fill in the steps when you write it out, because if you get something wrong down here, I won't know what you did. I'll have to guess. Usually I can guess it, but I don't want to guess for your sake. Okay? So we get negative 2, negative 3. All right? Now I'm kind of running out of room to write because this stuff over here, but let's go ahead and figure out the next thing, which is the vertex. Okay? So vertex, or actually, did I say the vertex? I think I did.
Yeah.
I want to use, yeah, vertex is at x equals negative b over 2a. Okay? And that equals, in this case, well, b is 5, so it's negative 5 over 2 times a. A is 1. That's negative 5 halves. I'm going to stay with fractions instead of decimals. Okay? The vertex is here. Now, the y-coordinate of the vertex is the graph point for which x equals negative 5/2. Since this is the x-coordinate of the vertex, the point on the curve, it has x-coordinate negative 5/2 is what you get when you find the point on the graph, which, okay? So I'll say y vertex equals f of negative 5/2, where f of x, of course, was this function. And I should have said f of x equals, it's actually y equals f of x equals. So you get the y coordinate, you plug in the x coordinate. Okay? Well, f of negative 0.5 is, or negative, the y coordinate of the vertex. What you get when you plug in negative 5/2 is this. Okay? And that's 25/4 minus 25/2 plus 6. Okay? And if you put all this over common denominator, it's 25/4 minus 50/4 plus 24/4. Well, 20, which is, write it out in all its gory detail. Add these up, you get negative 1, negative 1/4. Okay? So the vertex is at the point negative 5/2, negative 1/4. Okay? So, if that's negative 2.5, if we scale the y-axis, I want to scale it till we get 6 up there, so I'm going to put negative 1 here. Okay? Then negative 1/4 is like here. So here's your vertex. Okay?
Yeah.
Now you just went through the calculation, but you understand the calculation, so that should make sense. Okay? Now the part that doesn't always make sense that I wouldn't expect you to conjecture for yourself is putting it together with my statement. The graph looks like a graph of y to the x, y equals x squared. Okay? Now we know where the vertex is. Now the graph could be upside down, but it's going to look like a y equals x squared graph. Okay? So what could it look like? Well, it could look like this, or this. Badly written. It's supposed to be smoother down there with the chalk sticks. Or maybe this.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's spread out. Depends on how you scale the graph. In any case, the vertex is either the lowest or the highest point of the graph. Okay?
He's a woman beater.
So now, here's the vertex, just to make the colors match up. Okay? Now what's the graph look like? Well, maybe it's steep like this. Maybe it's way spread out like this. Okay? We don't know, but we can find out really easily. Okay? So how do we find out? Because once we find out, then we pretty much know how to sketch the graph. Okay? Well, f of x equals x squared plus 5x plus 6. Okay? What's the easiest thing you could plug in for x to find a value of y? Easiest number you could possibly plug in there. There's an easier one. 0. If x is 0, this is 0, this is 0, and you got 6, and there it is, and that's all you have to do, right? That's the y-intercept. Okay? So f of 0 is 6. Okay? Meaning that when x is 0, which is any point in the y-axis, y has to be 6. That narrows it down to 1 point. So the point on the y-axis is 6. So I said I wanted to keep 6 here. I didn't say why, but there it is. Okay? So 0, 6 is on the y-axis. Okay? So we'll say that's the point 0, 6. Now you can draw the parabola. You know where the vertex is. You've got this point, and you know what the shape is. It's just like the basic x squared graph. Of course, maybe you have to spread it out this way or make it thinner, but it's the same shape. So see if you can sketch this set of axes with the vertex here and the y-intercept here, and make it look reasonably like the y equals x squared graph.